YB stays on your neck.
I just think Anthony Joshua made a bad mistake, and he got beat. That doesn't make him any less of a great fighter. Everyone makes mistakes. We make mistakes in life. He made a mistake in the ring, and I think he could come back and revenge himself. I think he can do a good job in a return match. I still think he's better than all that. My personal opinion only. I think he is.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. Now, I gotta say, I'm very glad to report this news. Mike, the greatest heavyweight of all time, Tyson, has commented on Anthony and a cash cow Joshua. And it's funny because a lot of the time, this is probably one of the first positive videos I've done regarding AJ. In terms of all-time greats, I've exposed Evander, the hater Holyfield. I've exposed Lennox, the hater Lewis. In fact, there's loads of dons who sit on the sidelines hating on AJ because he's potentially going to go on and have better careers than them. Mike Tyson was one of the only dons to keep it 100, and I'm so glad we got Mike on our side. Yeah, not Lennox to sell out Lewis, not Evander juiced out of his mind. Listen, what fighter do you know can start at 175 and become a full-fledged 230-pound heavyweight? Please let me know. Please let me know who does that clean. Traps bulging out of his head, out of his neck. Big, thick chest, and it just doesn't work like that. But human frame don't work like that. You don't go from a 25-year-old, 175-pound dude to a 35-year-old, 230-pound dude. Doesn't work like that. If you ain't 230 pounds when you're 25, you're never going to be, unless you're juiced out of your mind. Yeah? Evander juiced out of his juice to the gills, Holyfield. Anyway, let's keep it positive because that's what this video is on. It's not about them confirmed LDBC general. All-time generals. That's what they are. Never mind all-time greats. All-time generals for the LD bum C. Anyway, let's crack on with what Listen, Mike Tyson was the best heavyweight of all time. Technically speaking, prime for prime, no heavyweight could live with Mike. Too much speed. Listen, Mike Tyson under Customato, yeah? That's what we do know. Mike Tyson under Customato, unstoppable. Lennox Lewis, prime for prime, Lennox Lewis. If Customato and Kevin Rooney in the corner, Customato in the crowd, Mike Tyson doesn't get beat. Impossible. There's no way Mike Tyson could lose with Customato in the crowd. Not possible. I would love to have seen that, but this is what happened. We've heard it from heavyweights, from neutral heavyweights have come out and said, listen, Lennox Lewis came to the Catskills back in the 80s, and Mike Tyson, along with Luis Ortiz was there as well, don't get twisted. It was Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, and Luis Ortiz. They was there in the Catskills in the 80s. I think back then, Luis Ortiz was around 37, 38 round then. Back in the 80s, Luis Ortiz was 37, 38. Mike was 20-year-old. Lennox Lewis was 20-year-old. And Mike Tyson bashed up Lennox Lewis. And ever since then, he realised Lennox Lewis clocked on. Why do you think the whole 80s, you didn't hear a peep out of Lennox Lewis? The 90s didn't hear a peep out of him. He waited until Tyson was absolutely shotty.com. He was shot to pieces. And you can tell Lennox Lewis feels away because he came out recently on the Joe Rogan podcast and said, oh man, I beat Mike Tyson in his prime. Wow, you beat Mike Tyson in his prime? Are you joking? And that's how you know, because no one can tell a bold-faced lie like that. But when you see people lying like that, you can tell they feel it. He knows what he did. He knows he spent the whole 80s and 90s shook to death of Mike Tyson after that sparring session. Tyson folded him and bred him like a cheap piece of cattle. That's what happened to him. Like a cheap piece of cattle. That's how Mike Tyson bred up Lennox Lewis in the 80s. Fact. There's independent heavyweights. I've got the guy's name. A British guy, a Welsh guy. There's a Welsh heavyweight who said in the Catskills, Ortiz, this Welsh guy, Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson, he got bred. Fact. Customato and Mike and Kevin Rooney, deadly. Too much head movement, too much speed, too much power. Fact. Yeah? That's what we do know. Anyway, I've rambled, going through some historic nostalgia. But to the point of this video, Mike Tyson's come out and shot down all them haters. It's funny, I love Mike because Mike exposed Deontay Wilder. Mike mugged off Deontay Wilder. He said, listen, the reason Wilder ain't selling no tickets, the reason I sold tickets was because I stood up at 19 years old and fought the lineal champion, Michael Spinks. I then went on to fight an all-time great, Larry Holmes. People said Larry Holmes was old, you know. He was like 36, 37 years old. These days, 36, 37, Wilder's nearly 36, 37. Let's call a spade here. All the LDBs here ranting and raving about how great Wilder is. He's not far off what Larry Holmes' age was. But everyone was talking about how shot Larry Holmes was. Mike Tyson beat pretty much a prime Larry Holmes. Fact. Larry Holmes went on to beat loads of people after his first knockout loss to Tyson. Tyson, the only man in history to knock out Larry Holmes, may I add. Only person in history to knock out Michael Spinks. The man who whooped up, I think he whooped Ali or Larry Holmes, one of them. Either way, Michael Spinks was the lineal champion and he got whooped, knocked out. Larry Holmes was the lineal champion, he got knocked out. That's what we do know. We weren't no messing about in them times there. Dangerous. And he told Wilder, the reason I was a big seller was because at 19 years old, I was doing things that your big, stiff, nose-pierced having ass, 35-year-old nose-piercing ass, couldn't do at 35. Tyson was doing this at 18, 19, fighting for world championships, unifying the division, beating lineal champions, true lineals, not none of this dodgy stuff, proper lineages. Yeah? Larry Holmes actually beat the guy who beat the guy. Michael Spinks actually beat the guy who beat the guy. Because I forgot who it was. Who was the guy before Ali? I forgot his name. I forgot his name, but Ali beat that guy. Yeah? Ali then got beat by Larry Holmes. And Michael Spinks beat Larry Holmes. And a straight up and down lineage. Nice, proper lineage. 4, 5, 6 man lineage was there. Set in stone. Mike Tyson comes along and completely destroys the lineage. Mike Tyson made a joke out of the lineage there. You had people like Spinks and Larry Holmes going 12 rounds, back-to-back wars, 50-50 wars. Mike Tyson comes along and breeds both of them like cheap cattle. Fact. That's what we do know. Mugged off Wilder, told him, listen bruv, the reason you ain't selling no tickets is because you ain't got no nuts, you ain't got no balls. You're out here fighting men that... Listen, Mike Tyson was sparring Ortiz in his prime. I told you before, Luis Ortiz was 35, 36 years old back in the 80s. And Mike Tyson was folding Ortiz in sparring back then. You got Wilder, 40 years later, fighting Ortiz now. And trying to get credit for it. You're trying to get credit for things Mike Tyson was doing back in the 80s. Yeah, Luis Ortiz was good back in the 80s. Not now. He's no good now. 40 years later. 30, 40 years later. You want credit for what Mike Tyson was doing 40 years ago. Ortiz is old news. Mike already folded him in sparring back in the 80s and 90s. Fact. That's basic knowledge there. That's what we do know. Trying to get credit. Trying to talk about how big you are. And trying to... Oh, man. It's because I'm black, man. You know, this how much of a joke these guys are. Black people have the highest pay-per-view selling records in boxing history. In fact, in fighting history. Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis. But yet, people, they want to pull the race card. No, Wilder don't get no sales because he ain't fighting no one. He isn't. He don't want to fight no one. As an example, Dillian Whyte would be the first person he's ever fought who's young, hungry, in form, active, etc., etc., power, athletic. But Wilder doesn't want any parts of it. He's fighting Ortiz, who is the opposite. Ortiz is inactive, not in form. How can you be in form coming off a 12-round, 50-50 fight with Christian Hammer? How can you be in form being knocked out a year ago? How can you be in form fighting once in a year? Literally, fighting once in a year. How can you be in form with no recent wins? Good wins. Clear wins. These are the questions you've got to ask yourself. Ortiz is literally 60 or 70 years old now. I got it wrong. I used to joke about him being 49. I completely forgot he used to spar Mike Tyson back in the 80s. My man's 50, 60 years old. No joke. He's 60-year-old. Seriously. Oh, no, he's not. That makes sense, yeah. All jokes aside, yeah. He's 10 years older than Mike Tyson. I'm telling you now. 10 years older than Iron Mike Tyson. Fact. That's it. Anyway, let me get to the point in this video because I've rambled for a hell of a long time. YB's been dishing out all the smoke this morning. Anyway, Mike Tyson come out and E for these dons, man. Ethan everyone, put everyone in their place. He said AJ made a bad mistake. It doesn't make him any less of a fighter. And you'll see all these man hating Dave Allen. Listen, Dave Allen's never accomplished anything in his career. His whole career is built off of AJ, no joke. Without AJ financing Matchroom, do you think this Dave Allen cat, who can't win a fight for love nor money, would be getting all of these shows and whatnot? Maybe now because he's a name, but his name got built off of AJ's undercards. His name got built because of how vibrant British boxing was. 10 years ago, do you seriously think Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren would have been putting Dave Allen on and having him lose all these fights and still bringing him back? Do you think that would be happening? No, Eddie Hearn's plush with cash as a result of AJ, and therefore it spreads out. The love gets spread out. Eddie Hearn's got flush pockets, so he doesn't mind sponsoring bums like Dave Allen, who finally, after about 3 years of F-ups, 5 years of F-ups, has finally, possibly, pulled his finger out of his ass. And he wants to talk about, oh yeah, AJ quit. It's funny. It's easy to talk about who quit and who didn't quit, isn't it? Because, in reality, I reckon you quit in the Leroy Thomas fight. How about that? And Leroy Thomas ain't no Andy Ruiz. So it's easy when you're fighting stiffs and having absolute wars with stiffs to talk about who's quitting and who's not quitting. Let's put you in there with these calibre of guys and see how you get on. It's too easy. That's my problem with Fury. That's my problem with that's my problem with Fury and Wilder. They laugh and everyone, all the Fury fans and all Fury himself, they all laugh and point at Joshua. Oh, yes, Anthony Joshua, he quit. He's not a fighting man, not a good man, not a Christian man. No, Anthony Joshua, he quit, he jacked, yes. Yes. Anthony Joshua, he's not good. He's too stiff. Talking about everyone quitting and whatnot. You ain't never been in there with someone who stuck on you. Who is Fury? Listen, Fury got folded. I've got the guy's name now, but Fury. Look, what one is? Fury got beat up. His first official loss was against, what's the man's name? It's gonna irritate me now. He beat him in the rematch. Bottom line is, Fury got beat up. And this dude was no Ruiz. His hands weren't fast at all. He got walked down and beat up. Fact. In the first fight. McDermott, that's it. John McDermott walked Fury down and beat him up. Beat the fight clean out of him. There was not a... Listen, after that fight against McDermott, McDermott beat... There wasn't... You know Fury is 6 feet 9 inches, yeah? McDermott beat the fight out of every inch in his body. There was not even one unit of fight left in his 6'9" frame. McDermott had punched it clean out of him. Similar, actually, to how Wilder punched the consciousness clean out of his head. That's if we're going to talk about cinnamon, S-Y-N, whatever. The bottom line is, McDermott punched the fight out of Fury the same way Wilder punched the consciousness clean out of his head in the 12th round. Eyes 180 degree inverted. That's what we do know. But anyway, back to the point, man. That's what we're saying. There's a lot of snakes that have come out of the woodworks talking about, oh yeah, this proves AJ's no good. This proves this. This proves that. Losing. This is what happens. People don't realise when you're fighting the top caliber, when you're fighting top 5 people back to back to back, you're rolling the dice. Look at Ali's career. Look at anyone's career. People who actually step up and fight the best, send contracts out, send record-breaking contracts out, look for the best fights. Jarrell Miller juices to gills, gets shook, gets cold feet, and jumps out of the fight, runs backwards to get out of there with AJ. Does AJ go looking for stiffs like Tom Schwartz? No, he wants Ortiz. Offers to pay Ortiz a 20 times record payday. Begging to get in there with the old man from the 80s. Yeah? Begging to do it. Licking his chops. No doubt. But they don't want it. So he ends up going for Ruiz. But Ruiz was the next in line. Who was better? Who available was better than Ruiz? Seriously, who available was better than Ruiz? No one. And that's what happens when you roll the dice and stick your neck out there. That's why you never see no video of Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson's actually, he's one of the only guys you can talk about. It's because he's one of the only guys who at a young age actually stepped up and fought. He didn't play around. He stepped up and fought the best from the jump. No fannying around looking for easy fights. Fury Wilder's 35-year-old. He's 45 fights in and still refuses to fight a young, hungry, informed fighter. It's embarrassing. But he wants to talk about AJ quitting. Why don't you start fighting people who actually want to fight? The only reason Ortiz wants to get in there is because he's senile and shot to bits and needs a payday. And his management have completely bent him over the table for ducking the AJ fight. That's what we do know. But anyway, the next thing he says, I think AJ will come back and revenge himself. He will do a good job. And you're damn right there, Mike Tyson, once again. Not only did all these hating ass goons, they'll disappear. Listen, AJ, after the Ruiz rematch, yeah, AJ will ether, that performance will ether all these big mouths, all Fury, all Wild talking about quitter. We'll see about quitter when AJ runs through Ruiz. And I said it myself, this Ruiz fight, if AJ wins this in devastating fashion, it's going to prove that AJ is the business 2.0. Proper business. This for me is bigger than anything before. I'm glad in a way, based on how I feel this rematch is going to go, I'm glad he lost. Because this rematch is going to be devastating. And you watch how many fights. Let's not forget, Wilder was booking fights that haven't even been signed. Wilder was that scared. He was coming on social media and telling people fights were signed when they weren't. The Ortiz fight, not signed. Fury fight, not signed. Why was he doing that? He was doing it because he felt some type of way. AJ put him deeply in his feelings. Was exposing him. I want to sit down with Wilder and make this fight. He couldn't wait for AJ to lose. And Fury. Fury's the same way. You wait after November, December this year. You watch how many fights get booked. You watch. Oh man, I'm fighting Kalinowski. I'm fighting Fury. I'm fighting everyone, but the whole PBC heavyweight stable, he'll book in. Literally, there will be booked fights. They'll release a Deontay Wilder schedule, and on the top it will read from 2020 to 2045. He'll literally book the next 30 years of fights up, and Fury will be the same. In fact, Fury don't want to fight no one, man. Fury don't want to fight no one. He don't even want to fight old sparring partners from the 80s. At least Wilder's fighting old sparring partners from the 80s. But anyway, the last thing Mike Tyson says is, AJ is better than all the other heavyweights. And you are 100% right, Mike. He is correct. He's better than all of them. Yeah, the true AJ, we haven't, the last one was dead. That dude there weren't AJ. That was a clone. Seriously. If gun to my head, yeah, if someone said, you got two options you can bet on for your life. You can bet that was AJ, or you can bet it was a clone. I'd honestly bet it was a clone. That performance was closer to being a clone than it was to AJ, I know. Fact. No doubt. There's a much higher probability that he'd been cloned than it was that he actually fought that fight at 100%. And all these dudes, all these dons, these hating ass dudes are gonna get ethered. I'm telling you now. So enjoy the next 6 months. Really enjoy it. Like the other day when I passed. Who did I pass? Oh yeah, Fury fans. The other day when it came out that Fury only sold like 4,000 tickets, and I passed you, man, a big, fat, stinking L. Like I was saying, make sure, just the same way you Fury fans need to embrace, nurture, yeah? Show love to that deep L I passed you, man. You Ruiz fans and all you fanboys and all you AJ haters, for these next 6 months, really enjoy nurturing that. Really, whatever that is, that hate you've got there, really enjoy it, because you've only got it for 6 months. And then it's going to be ripped clean out of your hands, and you watch. Don't worry, I've been taking mental notes. I can see it now. My videos that I'll do after the fight, there'll be all these AJ fans back in the comments. Oh yeah, he's back. Oh yeah, AJ, I knew he'd do this. No, you man are getting exposed. Fact. Because you man I ain't seen you since. The last 4 weeks, I have not seen certain man. Where they've been hiding at. Bandwagon dons. Yeah? Like Mike Tyson said, he's better than all of them, and he's coming back with a vengeance. You're done, though.